you're a very protective mom, and there was this situation with Shaqtin a fool, and I had really never heard you talk. I knew who you were. I know what your accomplishments were because I'm in sports. I follow sports. I study sports. This was really the first time I've ever heard you talk and step out. And I'm like, okay, when mom step out publicly, oh, there's a problem.
Well, I mean, and you got to also understand that he got, I had his ghetto card revoked. We as African Americans, and we are as athletes, we come from a fraternity and we got a code.
Right.
Now, once you break that code, and also I told JaVale, he forgot, you in the league. I'm from Flint. So I ain't scared, but he need to know you went too far. And I never apologize for protecting mine.
Right.
JaVale didn't grow up in the hood. I grew up in the hood.
Right.
And so after that whole experience, Shaq got his ghetto card revoked because he needed to be checked, and he got checked.
JaVale.
Where I grew up at?
Yeah, JaVale said where he grew up at.
I'm saying you wasn't in no drugs and that violence.
You saying I wasn't in the streets?
Right. That's what I'm saying. You wasn't in the streets because I was right there. That's what I'm saying. You wasn't in the streets. You wasn't no hood, We wasn't no hood.
JaVale, you addressed it. You on social media. You thought he stepped over the line also.
Truthfully, at the time when it had happened, when it was happening, I wasn't in a position to really speak on it to where it would get any push, any clout. If I would have spoke on it early on, it would be like, all right, whoever JaVale McGee is.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? That's Shaq, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But when I got to Golden State and we were winning, I was put in a position to where, okay, I can actually speak and have a voice and people will actually
You contributing on a championship winning team.
Exactly. So it gave me that power to be like, all right, now I can actually speak on it. Because if I would have spoke on it before, then be like, all right, cool. And it still would have been going on.
Right.
So I found the opportunity to actually speak on it and things were happening where he was putting posts up where it was like I would go coast to coast and miss the layup.
Right.
And then that's on the show. And I'm like, it's a missed layup. Like that's extremely simple. Like let's not overdo it.
Right.
And it was just doing too much. So I mean, you draw the line somewhere, and I had to, it was in the public, so I had to put it out in the public and put it on Twitter and say what I had to say.
But did you and Shaq have a conversation? Did you address it?
We never had a conversation. We see each other crossing paths like, all right, cool, what up? But it's never no real conversation. But the thing about that whole Shaqtin' the Fool era of when I was on there is I didn't realize what it was doing to my career until I started to move on to other teams.
Right.
Then I would talk to other coaches, and middle of the year they'd be like, I've always seen that Shaqtin' the Fool stuff and had a different mental of you. Right. And I never knew, like, you're a smart kid, you're extremely vocal, you're a great basketball player. But it was slowly chipping away at my reputation as a young 24-year-old athletic basketball player, young, excited, and it was just slowly chipping away with every other coach in the league. Like, no, we don't want him. We see what he's doing on Shaqtin' the Fool. But I mean, if you add any low light of, you can make a low light of Jordan right now, and if you've never seen a highlight of him, you would think he was the worst player in the world. So I mean, it was definitely a down spiral ever since I went on since that show aired of my career.
Right. People's perception.
But also, Shannon.
Go ahead, Pamela.
Shannon, I want to make sure we understand this too. That's why the gold medal is so powerful, and kids got to see what that whole issue was bullying. Okay. And we as African Americans, we can play the dozens and all that, but then there becomes the Bible says there's life and death in the power of the tongue. Right. We are taught to uplift each other and speak truth. Right. And so I had to get in it because of the black man that I know I raised. Right. And that, and I'll never let anybody, disrespect and take it to the hood when this is our jobs and we're professional.
Nor should you. But the people's perception of you is their reality.
If
somebody don't know you, what they perceive you, that's who you are.
Exactly.
And like you said, the coaches had this perception because that's what they saw. Mm-hmm. They didn't know you.
Never met
Once
them.
they get a chance to know you, like, well, hold on. You're not a dunce. You're not a buffoon. You're actually intellectual. You actually thoughtful. You can actually play. You can actually contribute to winning basketball.
For sure. It's definitely perception, man. Perception changes everything, and ever since they was like, okay, we're not posting you on that show anymore, all I've been doing is just trying to build my reputation back up, build more and more into my brand, make my brand better and better, and that's all I've been doing ever since.